Acoustic Research's AR9LS were excellent speakers when released and are now today, but they have one problem in that the foam tends to flake off and fall off very easily. No doubt this is exacerbated by 35 years of use. In this video, I will show you how to refoam these AR9LS speakers. I used a kit which I bought on eBay which contained foam surrounds as well as glue and some paintbrushes to apply that very glue. In this image you can see the tools I used, which were a screwdriver, a spanner, some rubbing alcohol and a knife, as well as the new foam surrounds. I also used an aux cord and an amp to play a continuous 30 Hz tone. First start by removing the old screws. This is the middle woofer and there are many screws around the edge. There are 8. Take your time and remove them slowly. Yep, we're still removing them. There. Wedged in quite well, as you can see. It takes quite a lot of effort to get them out. It's more than you expect. And below the plastic ring that surrounds them is another foam seal. Yep, we're going to lift that up and we're going to pull out the woofer. There's some 2 wires you need to disconnect on the side, and underneath that there's another foam seal. Here's a side angle. I'm going to pull out the red and the black wires from the tabs and jiggle out the woofer. Oof, that bottom part looks pretty bad. Yep, the foam's degrading there as well. If you look inside, you can see the bottom mounted woofer as well. We're going to need to access that from the inside. I was really confused about this when I saw these speakers. How I was going to get these out? You got to access it from the inside. So push aside the lamb's wool. That's obviously fake, some plastic. There are 2 wires here, just like the other ones, a red and a black, attaching to the bottom cone. While all the other woofers are held on by screws, this one is held on by nuts. I think they're 1/4 inch nuts. Anyway, I just used an adjustable monkey spanner. Yes, you're gonna pull them out. Sorry, the video quality is kind of bad, but you're gonna reach in there and pull those nuts out and gently pull out the bottom woofer cone. Now take care, get all the fluff off of it. Now here starts the main part. Use your finger or a paintbrush to pull off any existing powder of the foam that has deteriorated. You want to get all the old foam off. You got this gunky, gluey compound still on there, but don't worry about it, we're going to get that out as well. Get all the powder out, make sure it doesn't go inside the spider. We're going to dunk some rubbing alcohol in it. Rubbing alcohol loosens the compounds, the gluey compounds, makes it easier to remove. Yeah, we're going to get all the rubbing alcohol on there. Yeah, take long motions. It gets black really fast. I mean, if these speakers have been sitting for 35 years, I don't think they've been played in very long either. I'm going to use a knife and I'm going to scrape along the bottom of the gluey parts to get it off, holding the knife at a 20-degree angle or so. Take short nubs. Sometimes you get really lucky and you get a big long strip of glue that comes off. Other times you have to keep picking at it. It's great if you can help. Yeah, it's awesome if you can get someone to help you as well. It's a tedious job. Here I've removed the bottom woofer as well. I'm going to get the gunk off of that one as well. You can go down. Here's a zoomed in view, 20-degree angle. Sometimes it comes off like pencil shaving. Sometimes it comes off like almost like a tangerine peel. It's more satisfying when it comes out that way, but I guess you can't decide. It's the Acoustic Research glue designers. Yes, now to stick on the foam surrounds, you're going to have to raise the cone up a little bit. I found that it was best to put 2 fresh pencils underneath either side of the cone. Yeah, stick it in there. Make sure you don't puncture any of the sensitive parts underneath, but you're going to raise up the cone as shown. Now the pencils are wedged in there. Now once I've removed all the gunk on the paper cone itself, I'm going to apply the glue to the top edge of the paper cone. Now this is for the middle woofer. Yes, it's not the one that's facing downwards, but it's not the 8-inch one either. This is the biggest one. Yeah, once I've applied the glue, I will now position the foam surround over it. I'm not gluing the outside, I'm only gluing the inside. I'll show you why later. Bear with me here. Get it down nice and snug. Put your fingers in, hold it down. I let it dry for about 45 minutes or so. In the meanwhile, I worked on the other woofers. This camera is going kind of schizo on me right now. Excellent. So now we move on to the smallest woofer. Well, not that small really. We're going to apply glue to the inside of the foam surrounds because the smallest woofer is different in that the foam surrounds go underneath the paper cone. So apply a nice thick bead of glue here. Overall, I only used about half a glue bottle. They gave me 3. Yep, and we're going to slide it underneath the paper cone. Now the paper cone's a little bigger than the inside of the foam surrounds, so you got to do a little bit of gymnastics there. I use a toothpick to help fit the foam surrounds underneath the bottom of the paper cone. This way I didn't get glue on my fingers and I didn't smudge glue onto the paper cone. Your decision really. Now's the interesting part. Watch. Observe the following technical diagram. Now remember how we didn't glue on both sides of the foam surrounds onto the speaker cone yet. We did this because we don't want to accidentally glue on the foam surrounds when it's not centered onto the speaker cone. This will lead to voice coil rub, and which is not a good thing. So we'll play a constant 30 Hz tone or something low while the speaker cone is plugged into an amp. You know it is centered if you hear a hum and not a buzz. If you hear a buzz, that means your voice coil is rubbing. Move around the foam surround until you have it centered and then only glue down. So watch in the following video how I center it. Okay, so we're gonna touch the leads of the wire onto the speaker. Listen. Okay, let's move it around a bit. That sounds a little bit of rubbing. Alright, I think we're good. Okay, let's glue it down. Okay, so you're going to lift up the outer flap of the foam surrounds and you're going to stick your glue bottle in there. Be sure to get a nice line of glue. Now, even though it's metal on foam, this glue that they ship is really nice. It'll stick. Sort of like tacky glue. I guess you could have used that instead if you wanted to. I think it is tacky glue. It's not like a cyanoacrylate or some nasty compound. Maybe it's non-toxic. Probably kids safe. Okay, now we're gonna push back all the foam that was blocking our way in order to put our bottom downward facing woofer back in. Now this is the hardest one. There are 4 little screws that are sticking out and there are holes on the metal part of the foam surround. So once you stick it in, you're going to need to put those screws back and you're going to need to stick those wires back. So I just made a note of where red was and where black was when I originally took it out. I guess you could do that. I'm not sure what difference it makes. I'm not an auditory engineer. Yes, it takes quite a bit of effort to stick those wires back in. It's like they made them half an inch too short. Now make sure you don't get any wool in between the wire and the leads. So there are 3 different speaker cones. I'm not going to show each one simply because I didn't have that much space in my memory card. But the reverse process is just doing the opposite of how you took it out. Get the little foam seal under there. Attach the wires. Make some space in the woolly surrounding area. And stick it back on. You're going to put all the screws back in as well. You might need to cut a little bit out of the foam surrounds to get the screws back in to fit. Don't forget the little foam ring that goes underneath the metal speaker cone itself. And there you have refoamed your AR9LS speakers. Now to power these I had a Crown XLI 1500 4 ohm 450 watt power amp. And the interesting thing is I probably spent the money on that amp with all the money that I saved from having these professionally refoamed, and There's no voice coil rub and it sounds excellent, melodious, deep and rich. Here, see the improvement from old to new.